My comment.
Anyway, we brunch out there and make sure you have any Mother's Day and so it's.
That was my way.
Yeah.
Always have. That's just the way I do it, I guess. That's the way I have my whole life. Working.
Yeah, no problem. Only once a year. It's fine, no problem.
I've always farmed.
Feel out.
It's serious.
Thank you, Mark, for not waiting. Belongs to this.
Thank you, Steve.
As soon as I get back up here today, but I would love to come.
I think, and you can ask Andy to clarify this, but even though there's no bids, I think you can still hold a public hearing about selling a property so that whatever way you want to proceed, you don't have to have another public hearing. Fail.
Yeah.
So, but Andy's probably on too.
So Ben, I think you're right. You could have the hearing, but I'm not sure there's a whole lot of value when you've got no bids. I got to thinking about this a little bit this morning, wondering if we shouldn't cancel the public hearing for today and reschedule this as an agenda item in closed session next week, Monday. I'm a little concerned about how much discussion in public could impact your sale price, your asking price, your marketing, that type of thing for this property.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I motion to
Cancel
cancel the public hearing and reschedule for next Monday.
Second. A motion second to cancel the public hearing and reschedule for next Monday. All those in favor, say aye.
We aren't rescheduling the public hearing for next Monday. We're just putting it on the agenda for discussion in a closed session.
I will amend that then to what he said.
And there's a second for the amendment. Second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right.
So that takes care of our Andy's time, the building sale procedures, we can just put that off. So next week.
One question there. Is it feasible to include our economic development director in that closed session, Andy?
I'm sorry, it broke up on me, Steve. What was that?
Would it be feasible and acceptable to invite our economic development director to that closed session?
Typically, no. Not a board member, not legal counsel, not your board secretary. I think you've got problems with a closed session if you're bringing third parties in.
Can we appoint two members to discuss that, the option, what options may be with economic development, and then report to the board?
I think that's a better alternative.
I would volunteer, and Mark and I would discuss with the economic development director options to bring to that meeting. That's fine. Fine with me. Andy, do you have anything else on this Verizon lease options?
I don't have what they're proposing, but my question is, and Ben, I don't know if you've got this or not, but what was their actual start date?
It was in, the original lease was signed in like 18 or 19, but it had a clause in there that the lease wouldn't start until they started construction, which I think was either in late 19 or early 20. I don't remember that for sure. So, but they had, the original lease was 5 years, and then it had with $600 a month with 2% increases each year, or $600, yeah, with 2%, yeah. And then it was a 5 year, but then it had 4 5-year automatic renewals built right in.
Right. So my question is, I think we need to determine when the commencement date is, because
Yeah.
if it was, depending on that, we may be in our first 5-year renewal already.
Yeah,
And that would make some of the changes they're proposing moot at this point anyway. And then
would
Ben,
think
could you send me the terms? Could you
Yep,
send
I
me the
put-
terms that they're looking at changing?
yeah, those were in the email I sent last week. It had the original lease plus the new terms, but I didn't have the commencement date on the original lease because you need to know when we got our first payment. So I'll look that up. I think in my opinion of it was that I mean, why would you want to do anything? Their proposal was a lower monthly rate.
Yeah.
Or a lump sum payment that you get for about 15 years of payments, you give them a 99-year lease, which I didn't think was probably what you wanted to do either. So at this point, unless they say they're gonna end the current lease, I don't know why you would do anything except just continue with the current terms.
And that's my take too, but I think it's important that we know where we're at,
Yeah, I'll look that
at
up.
least
too,
on the
get that
lease,
info.
and keep in mind that the payment date isn't necessarily the commencement date, because I think the lease provided for 60 days to make the first payment.
Let's see if we have a statement in there when they actually started the construction.
Yeah. Okay, I found your other email. Okay. So yeah, if you can get me the commencement date, I'll get you a more firm response. But I agree with Ben. I don't see this as, I don't think you've got a whole lot of reason to negotiate, particularly at this point.
You have anything on the Peel settlement agreement?
I thought I had sent that out to you.
I have a copy of it here. I think they need to take action accepting the amendments if they want.
Right. So the proposed amendment goes back to manually opened gates, but moves them back to beyond the access drive for the house. And it would be a class B road to that point, and then a C the rest of the way on 360th to the other end of that C designation. I think Michael was on board with doing that, but you should double check with him if he hasn't mentioned it. I think that Mary has been involved in that discussion as well. Can't speak for her, but she has not expressed objection to this as a solution, but I think more than anything else, everybody up there is looking forward to having this resolved and getting new ownership of that property.
And Andy, that did include basically taking out the riprap and restoring the access for everybody along that way.
Correct. Take out the riprap, reseed it. Everything's supposed to be done within 30 days of the signed settlement agreement. I'm not so sure the riprap isn't out already, but I don't know that for sure.
Wasn't there a question on the ownership of the riprap? No, it was.
I haven't heard anything on that. Haven't been up there since that started, so.
So we need a motion to accept that.
Settlement agreement.
Because Mary wanted to be here, but she's okay with not being here, wasn't that?
I
don't know if it was Mary, but there was an adjacent owner wanted to be.
I sent her this and told her this was on the agenda. I didn't know if she would be here or not.
It doesn't say we're taking action on it, does that? Should we vote on this next Monday?
I think I implied that it's taking action by listing it on his agenda time. Once they discuss, it's here up, it's up. For the agenda.
Oh,
Are there any issues with that, Andy?
I don't believe so. I mean, if you're more comfortable waiting a week to get this thing signed and talking to Mary in the meantime, I haven't seen the signed agreement come back from Peel at this point, so if you want to push it out a week and check, that's fine. If you want to move forward with it, based on what we know of this at this point, I think you're okay with that too.
I would say put it and vote on it next weekend.
I would, that's where we got double last time.
Yeah. All I have
Oh,
is verbal. She likes it, so I don't have.
let's give her one more.
Well, that gives us time to.
Whoever the property owner was, make sure that we have.
I'd like to drive out and see it anyway.
Okay,
Put it on next week's
I'll
agenda.
put that on next week.
anything else quick, Andy?
Do you want to do the closed session with Andy that you have scheduled at 10:45?
How long is Mike gonna?
Shouldn't be too long.
I mean, does Andy want to wait? No, it's gonna be on mine. We set up a separate meeting. Separate link. so-
How would you like to proceed with this, Andy?
What do you mean? I mean, I thought we were going to go into closed session to discuss to whether or not the board wants to.
We are, but we're running behind this morning, so that's why we don't know if you have time for us to fit Mike in quick or.
Yeah, no, go ahead and do that, and I'll just stay on, and when you guys finish up and are ready to go into closed session, I'll log into that.
All right,
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Thank you. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Mike.
you bet.
So, since last meeting, Winneshiek plans in the final for the bill grant. There's nothing to do to report this week. Railroad collection of bridge study coordination, occurred last week. We have reached an agreement, $29,000, and we will be looking to have that load study be done, first weeks of August. Subdivision data gathering is nothing new this week. Maintenance activities for 2025 are being coordinated. 6,500 tons per blade district will be applied this year, plus some high volume roads are being rocked. Work out of Bridgeway is done this week. We are changing those operations to a 2-man operation instead of a 3-man operation. Trying that out. The scoop position and bridge crew position interviews were hosted 2 weeks ago. Most men are starting May 19th. Sign man position consideration was asked during the time of the interviews of the other interviewees. All interviewees that were not accepted are eligible for the sign man position. We will be interviewing for the sign man position this week. SS4 a grant meeting was held Monday, March 24th in the courthouse jury room. We will submit findings once we have them. They should be any day now. Jeff Kill situation is as we just discussed. Nesty Valley construction has begun. It was moving occurred last week. The new 2025 CFYP, I just gave it to Dan. I recommend approval of that. All I did was add the Nesty Valley construction project on there in accordance with the DOT expectations. So, yeah, if you would look for the approval of that.
Anyone want to take action on the 5-year program?
Move to accept.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to accept the secondary roads 5-year program. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously.
Another voting item here is I am recommending the following matrix exemptions, at sort of the fiscal 2026. The North Foreman and Shop Foreman, I recommend, to be moved to pay grade 19, which is the same as before, but move into the 15-year experience, column.
Why would that be?
So what's happened with the union negotiations is it's created a pay situation where the union crew members are very, very close to our foreman, and that hasn't always been the case. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move the positions up accordingly to the same percentage, roughly 8% with the position on each of these.
So do they have 15 years of experience?
They have more than 15 years experience on both of them.
Not in that position.
But
Not in that position, correct. That is, it is in that position, 19 years of experience and 27 years of experience with the road crew.
Is that something we could put on the agenda for next week?
We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
We got this can of worms open up now, it's.
And then I'll just finish out the statement because then it's also the South Foreman, which we just hired. And then the maintenance superintendent is also what we'll be voting on. Just to give you a clue what's going on, with our bridge crew, B32 culvert replacement has begun. B32 will be out of seal from Fort Atkinson to Festina. In preparation for that, the Ocean culverts are complete. We have one culvert left to complete on that. It's just west of Festina that began this morning. After that, the bridge crew will be moving to B16, just west of Spillville. Still working out with Denco to augment the sealing of hard surface roads. We're going to do Pole Line Road and W40. And then all of this other stuff is stuff that's essentially the same as last week. So.
The one culvert replacement's a little rough. Might need a little more rock in there for the time.
Which one?
Between Ocean and Festina.
Okay.
One is pretty good. Wife warned me on the second one. She goes, you might want to slow down a lot. She wasn't wrong.
Are they putting a patch on the one report too?
The one by Freeport, yes, and they will be, we do have some of those patching to happen on B32. I don't know when that's gonna happen yet, so.
Frankville Road done?
Yep.
Frankville Road is done. I've heard
Yeah, they're good.
compliments on the smoothness of that, so.
Yesterday we come that way, so, no.
Unusually well regarded.
Yep. Yeah, that was.
Deal.
So I just don't know when that patching is gonna hit B32 yet,
Yeah.
so.
Like I said, it's fine for now with rock. It's just that one.
Yeah.
The Steiner was the one what's so.
All right. Trying to make it as fast as I can for Andy. So that's it in a nutshell.
Did you get a signature on the construction program?
No.
Yeah, it's right here. Yep.
And I'll need to sign it too, I think, and I want a copy of it, so I'll just sign it and get it back to you.
Perfect.
We do our couple
Miscellaneous
miscellaneous.
shouldn't take us long.
Yeah.
That's next. First of which is the solid waste management plan approval.
And I have this came from TJ, something that those of you in the commission are probably already know about. It has to do with the plan that the commission is sending to each of the cities and counties that are involved in the commission.
Someone would take action.
Are there any changes from the previous one?
I have no idea. I just got it from TJ, said that you,
I haven't seen it, but
amendments are bold and underlined, so. You sure, did I email this out to you? I'm sure I emailed this out and said if you're probably on the, if you went to the last commission meeting, you're probably already familiar with it.
I went through the bullet parts of it.
It said something about, and the Klusner sanitation, Garnavilla transfer station in Clayton County was added in the current service area. That's in there a couple times, that was added.
The issue with the engineers.
Glass, paper, plastic, and metal included in the waste reduction program. I think they were kind of minor, but it's evaluated in continuous basis by agency staff. This had to do with the analysis of past comprehensive planning. Proposed implementation items brought forth included Winneshiek County Conservation. It was taking over the education on July 1, 2021, and will be developing a county landfill website.
doesn't sound like anything major then.
No. So I went through all the bolded stuff when I saw it. I didn't notice.
Trust
anything.
TJ on that, so.
Yeah.
I would motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the solid waste management plan. Is there any further discussion?
It's a resolution.
None, all those in favor?
Resolution.
All those-
Aye.
Shirley?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
I also passes unanimously. And the next is
Budget amendments. I'll try to go quick here. Basically, I need to know if there's actually nothing too major here. But if there's any of these department heads you want to come in and give a presentation before the public hearing, we would need to know that. I put copies in your box. Put copies over here for the public. This is the one that went in the newspaper. You set the date at the last meeting, so I got this submitted to the newspaper. This is a recap by department. It looks really different than a lot of years this year because a lot of the amendments are actually negatives. They're reductions in spending. So I'll just go through them really quickly. Board of Supervisors, you have someone switch from single plan to family plan, so we had to add some money into the health insurance line. The auditor is a net zero. It's both an expense and a revenue for local elections that were not budgeted originally, that we had several local elections this year that needed to be added in. Roads, basically Michael completely redid his budget. You've already approved the DOT version. He was, thrown into the middle budget cycle as a brand new person. So last year, so almost every line needed to be adjusted up or down. So in the end, it ended up being a lower budget than the previous year. Conservation is net actually negative, and it's all in miscellaneous funding. It has to do with FEMA money and grant money that she's collected and is spending out. So none of it is property tax money. Public health, this was a complete, basically almost every line in their budget is going to be an amendment because you reduced her at the time of appropriation, you reduced it 600,000 about. And so now we're actually changing which lines we're actually changing to make up for that. So you can see there's 611,000 in reduction in the actual budget to cover that appropriation amount.
Can I ask a question about that? Now or sometime?
There will be a public hearing on the budget amendment on Tuesday after Memorial Day, the 27th, but if Dan wants to entertain a question now, that's up to you, I guess.
I think we'll let it go until the public hearing.
It will come up.
So Board of Health, there's lots of changes in theirs just to get that balance to come out. Some lines went way down, some actually went up because they had the contract for some help that wasn't in the original budget. Some were just the same for the employees that are currently on staff, so we had to adjust all those, but she did come up with the 600,000 that you had originally changed in the appropriation. And the miscellaneous county, I had, I put 100,000 in there under Andy's recommendation as a high side estimate for the costs of the
Awesome.
the claim with the governor and attorney general business and the cost of the paying for attorney fees for that. And then 30,000 was some changes in the property insurance last year. If you remember, they told us it was going to be 20 to 30%. I didn't know exactly how much to add into the budget. So we actually ended up needing more in there. So that's where that 30,000 is. So there's actually only like 3 budget amendments that are actual increases. The change in insurance, the 100,000 for the legal expenses, and the 30,000 in property insurance fees that we kind of already knew about, and I just am now making up for. So if you want any of the departments to come in to explain those further, let me know. Otherwise, there will be a public hearing. It's already scheduled for that 27th at 9:30, I think, and it will be published in the newspapers. Yeah, 9:30.
All right. I guess next up would be to go into the closed session.
Do you want to do the consent agenda quick so that after the closed session, you're basically done with all of your regular business, so that people don't have to wait around if they don't want to.
Minutes, claims, agenda.
Oh, what is it?
Minutes and claims are the only things I have there.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. It's unanimous. Now,
Motion. Motion to go in closed session. Second.
a motion and second to go into closed session. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And this is to discuss pending litigation authorized under Iowa Code 21.51C. Did you second the motion to go in for?
Yep.
So now just need a few minutes. We'll have to have Fatima end this meeting and start the separate one so Andy can attend via closed session, via Teams, and I'll get the doors shut and sign it closed. Did you hear me, Fatima? We can end this meeting and.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Which one?
Oh.
Back in.
Are you recording, Fatima? Are you ready to go back to the open session?
Yes, I'm already recording.
Okay. She's ready.
I would motion to accept the informal resolution sent to iPad.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the informal resolution from the Iowa Public Information Board. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor say aye.
Resolution.
Aye.
Shirley?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Steve? Aye also, passes unanimously. As part of that informal resolution, acknowledges that this governmental body acknowledges there are sufficient facts to demonstrate the governmental body failed to produce records in compliance with Iowa Code Chapter 22. Specifically, this governmental body failed to charge a reasonable fee for production of records based on actual costs and exhibited unreasonable delay in production of records. Now, also part of that, we need a motion.
To refund the $200.
I would motion to refund the money to the claimant.
Second.
We have a motion and second to refund the money to Steve St. Clair. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Ben, after Dan signs the informal resolution agreement, could you email that to me? I'll get it back to iPad.
Yep,
And I'll get started working on the policy that we need to work on and get a draft of that to you so we've got something to discuss.
That'd be great.
is there a training that can be provided through IPIB? I mean, we've had
Yes.
we've had public records and public meetings trainings from IPIB at auditors conferences. Would they come and do one for county employees or something?
Yeah, the email from them said they would, so, and they will do it in conjunction with the city of Ashen if you want to. So I'll try and pin down that information or options a little more fully for you also.
Okay.
Is that something we could invite city leaders? All 8 of the city leaders to, and then all department heads, or who would we want to attend that?
Department heads don't hold.
Let's talk to IPIB about what they envision for purposes of this agreement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Yep, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have any committee reports?
I have Northeast Iowa Behavioral Health is this Thursday at noon at the Chrysalis Children's Center. So we can all see the renovated building. It's open now, so it'll be nice.
You saw the results today of the Historic Commission's meeting on Saturday. It was honoring
Nice.
those folks for their commitment. And there is an upcoming September 13th. It'll be a Wednesday event down for dealing with the Ho-Chunk Indian reservation stuff. And probably, I'm not sure if Prosper Wakan will be there. Well, they're putting a whole day event on that will run from about 9:30 to 3, tour the fort, tour of different Indian sites and so forth that they're involved in, putting it on as a cultural event for this area.
Oh, that's awesome.
It will reach throughout probably a quarter of the state.
So that's Monday.
It's a Wednesday, I think Wednesday the 13th of September.
Will you send us all an
Yeah,
email about
absolutely.
that?
The
No, I think
Wednesday would need to be the 17th or the 10th.
No, 17th.
17th.
Double check my calendar, it's the 17th.
Will you send an email to all
I
of
was,
us?
as soon as
That'd be great.
they have a tentative agenda now, and they're confirming a lot of it, but
Okay.
it'll be a interesting event, 17th. It will be
Thank you.
primarily, it will be at the German Museum in St. Lucas,
September 17th.
because they've got a large meeting space.
I have one thing I just want to ask. I don't want you to make any discussion or decision on it, but I want to ask if you want this on a future agenda or not. Doug Gru's email, he asked me to print it out and give it to you since he hadn't heard anything about it. Do we want to schedule this, or are you fine leaving it where it is and not bringing it up during a meeting, or do you want to have it on an agenda? I need to know what calendar.
I think we need to have it on the agenda and a discussion so that it comes out, because we've got a number of different, if we need to make some adjustments, we need to discuss it.
I agree.
Kind of coincides with what Mike wants to do.
Yeah, we just look a lot of matrix then.
If we
Have
would have,
everybody come in and adjust them.
but if we would have
Yeah.
done the option A in the first place, I think that would have taken care of a lot of this.
No,
We can't go there.
I know we can't back up and redo
We
things,
can't go
but
there. We didn't have, we were faced with budget issues. We all know why we did voted the way we voted.
I worked at a place where, those people, I've been in 30 years and people were starting what I was making, but there was just, the matrix didn't allow for. You have a choice of taking another job.
Anything else?
No.
Second.
A motion and second for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
I'll pull out a Marx today on emotions. Double down.
thanks everybody for a good meeting.
Right.
Did you work with your carrier on that, Dan?
What?
Did you work with your carrier on that? When you get all your- Just went through.
What's that?
So if you have messages, that'll only take it out. Fatima, there's less than 2 in the room now. Thank you.
I mean, like I said, I don't know that the carrier